Hey everybody, what's going on? I hope you're doing well. My name is Jamie Dean and welcome to another video game pickups video right here on Sidescrollin. It's a very retro-oriented pickups lot this week. I've got a few bits and pieces to show you, a couple of really choice items from way back. If you are under the age of, God, 30, 35 even, you're probably going to have no idea what I'm talking about. But yeah, some really good retro stuff that I picked up this week, including most importantly, another Grail game crossed off my list. Yes! This one was a really hard to find one too, so I am wrapped. Very happy to have found this one and add it to the collection. Let's go ahead and show you what I got. Alright, first up, I'm going to show you some stuff that I already owned that I uncovered this week. I was going through some boxes and some cupboards, and I found my old toy box. It is stocked with cool shit, but I'm going to save a bunch of that for another video in the future. But I did pick out a couple of little choice items that I wouldn't mind having on the shelves behind me here, just because I thought they were cool. So I'll give you a quick look at those, and then we'll get into what I actually picked up. The first one out of that box is this little thing. A miniature Pac-Man arcade cabinet. Now, my understanding is that this actually works. And it was part of, I think, a series of little mini arcade games. But you can move the joystick. The buttons actually work. It needs batteries, a couple of AA batteries, which I don't have in there right now. But my understanding is that you put them in, it'll actually play Pac-Man on the screen. So that was a cool little thing to find. I'll find a spot for that behind me here somewhere. Next up was something what I actually was going into the box to find, hoping, because I didn't know where these things were, and I've been looking everywhere for these fucking things, and I finally managed to find them in this box. And they are just some little Mario Kart Hot Wheels that Dominic bought me a little while back, and I absolutely love them, and I'd put them away somewhere safe, right, to keep them safe, and then had no idea where the hell I'd ended up putting them. So I'm glad I found them again, because I wanted to find them to put them on the shelf. You've probably seen these in shops. They're still available now, these little Hot Wheels Mario Kart figures, but I think they're just awesome. And I think if I was a wealthier man, I'd have a lot more of these. But yes, I'm glad to have found these ones, and now I can pop them on the shelf somewhere behind me, which is great. Put them down there. Sticking with the... actually, no, I'll talk about them in a moment. The next thing I found was this. I've always thought this was really cool. It's very dusty, very dirty. But it's a little McDonald's piranha plant tube. And it's got a lever on the back here that you can press upwards. And the piranha plant comes up. How cool. I've always thought that was just such a rad little like toy that you can have. Like, it makes a nice little display piece, a nice little filler piece. So I want to have that on the shelf somewhere behind me. I think it's made for McDonald's 2017, copyright Nintendo. There you go. So part of their little Mario line of toys. I think they've done a few different lines of those now. This is an interesting little piece that I found at a second-hand store a few years back, and that is this little pink Yoshi figure. Wow, that's really bright in the lights. He looks almost white in the lights. It's actually very pink. Now this says that it is 2000 and, hard to see, I think it's 2007? 2002? 2007. I think 2007. Copyright Nintendo. I don't know what he's from. If you know what this little pink Yoshi's from, leave a comment and let me know, because all that was there was just this loose figure by itself. But I haven't seen Yoshi figures in different colors very often. So I remember grabbing, he was like, I don't know, 50 cents or something like that probably. So yeah, I'll find a home for little pink Yoshi. And the last thing I pulled out of the toy box were these. Now these are awesome. I love these. I got them at the same second-hand store that I found the Yoshi. And these are these little Mario Kart remote control cars. and they are just super cool. They're just a great size, I think. They had the pair of them there. They've got a little charging port you can see there, on-off switch. There's a whole bunch of text under here that I don't have my glasses on, and so I can't read it. There's like a paragraph of stuff under there, but it looks to me like it's got like the little steering dial that a lot of little remote control cars come with. So I'm there's no receiver, although maybe it's just not powerful enough. It was small enough that it didn't need a receiver. It's got you can tell it's mechanized on the wheel. The front wheels turn, so I'm guessing it was some little remote control car toy. I don't have the remote controls, but the cars, just the carts themselves, I just thought looked super duper cool. So again, they were probably like 50 cents or something like that each. So I've had them in a box for a while. I had them out on display at another house that I lived in my game room there, and I wanted to bring them back out so I can have them on display again here because I love them. Especially they've still got like their stickers and things. You don't often see little secondhand toys like that with their stickers still attached. So they're very dusty. They need a good clean, but I will find homes for them on the shelf somewhere. The shelf that is starting to fill up very quickly. So I don't know where I'm going to find home for these, but I'll find it somewhere up near probably the Wii U Mario Kart box, I think. Okay, that's all the little bits and pieces that I pulled out of storage this week as I was searching for those little Hot Wheels cars. Let's get into the actual pickups. So I did pop my head into my little bookshop to see if they had anything new this week. I didn't record it because I was literally in and out in 5 minutes, and it's the only secondhand store that I managed to get to this week. They did have a couple of items that I wanted, and so I picked those up. The first of which is a DVD again. Just trying to grab the movies that are special and important to me, just to keep hard copies of them on the shelf. And that is a DVD copy of The Lion King. That's a better picture, isn't it? Without the glare. It's got that lovely foil. I don't know if you can see it. Lion King is in foil. There we are. Which look really nice. $1. I thought I'll have that. They can go in the collection. I love The Lion King, one of my favorite movies ever, and definitely I think my favorite Disney movie. We got a couple of games in there, nothing that I wanted to keep for the shelf, one of which I already own, but I just grabbed it because I might use these as trades or as eBay fodder or something like that. But that is Gran Turismo 6, and it has... you can see it's got some stickering on the cover that I'm going to have to try and get rid of, but inside it looks really nice and clean. There we are. Got the manual. And the other one is good old Wii Sports Resort. Again, has the manual. Whoa, and the disc all in there. So just a nice little find. I think they were about $2 or $3 each, if I remember rightly. Gran Turismo 6 is about a tenner on eBay, something like that. Wii Sports, surprisingly enough, a little bit more than that. So I will clean these up and probably try and sell them on to add to the collection fund for things that I do want to put on the shelf. I think I might start looking out for stuff like that. If I spot things... So far, I've really just been collecting for me, just trying to find things to put on my shelf rather than things that might be sought after by other people. I think I might start I'm not going out of my way to cruise around shops just to grab things that are valuable, but if I start to see things, I've got a few pickups from my big Nintendo 64 haul, like a couple of the bits and pieces I got from that shop that I got Ico from. There's a few things in there that need to be cleaned up and they can be sold on, all hopefully to generate a little bit of funds to continue with the whole project. And the last thing I found, I thought we already owned, but I'll be damned if I can find this. I've asked Madam, she doesn't know where it is. It was hers. When I held it up, she was like, she thought it was hers, but it's not. It's actually one I found at the bookshop, and that is Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee strategy guide. Trainer's Guide and Pokedex. I fucking love these things. I have I think it's a Platinum, Pokemon Platinum one. somewhere. I think it might be on Madam's shelf. And now we've got this one. Like I said, I swear we already had this. Maybe we do, and it's just buried somewhere. But this is actually surprisingly valuable. I looked on eBay to see whether like these were worth anything, and the only ones I could find, I mean, they were much better condition than this, don't get me wrong, but they were like $60 to $80. I mean, would you pay $60 to $80 for a Let's Go Pikachu play guide? I wouldn't. I don't know, mate. Whatever, you know. I guess people fucking love Let's Go Pikachu. But yeah, I always love these Pokemon strategy guides. I would love to get a row of them on the shelf. So that's where this one will be going. Again, needs a bit of a cleanup. It's pretty battered. It was $5, and I did sort of and ah about picking it up for $5 in the condition that it was in. But like I said, when I checked on eBay and saw, you know, how valuable they are, I was like, oh, maybe $5 ain't so bad. So yeah, there we go. There's one that I can put on the shelf, and when I find my Platinum guide, I can add to that as well. That was it for the bookshop this week. Although, I mean, that's what, four pieces in the bookshop in one trip. That's not a bad little journey. I mean, I can go in and out of that shop, you know, for weeks on end and not see any change or anything different whatsoever. They did actually have another play guide for Sun and Moon in there. It was in very good condition, but I don't have any real attachment to Sun and Moon, and it was very expensive. I don't know. I went on eBay and I could get one cheaper on eBay than I could in the bookshop. I don't know why. I don't know how these people price these things. They're lovely. Don't get me wrong. They're lovely people that work in that place, but I don't know how they get their prices. I might have a word to them. Maybe next time I'm in there and just say, listen, I think this one might be a bit overpriced, you know. If it was cheaper, I'd grab it just to have it on the shelf because I really like those Pokemon guides. All right, let's have a look at the eBay pickups for this week. Just a couple of things this week. Nothing too not a big pile of stuff, but some really choice bits and pieces this week, especially if you like retro gear. We'll get the non-retro stuff out of the way first. So the first one is something that I've actually wanted for a long time, even before I decided to start doing this whole project. And this was born out of my frustration actually with Netflix because Netflix have a portion of this series available, and the second half of the series is just absent. And it's been that way for years and years and years. I don't know if it's a rights issue. I don't know. I don't understand why they've only got half of a not a season. They got the first season of this series, but the first season is kind of only half the story. The rest is in season 2, and they just have never had season 2, and I don't really know why. Even though they have subsequent lots and lots and lots of seasons of this show, and that is the original Pokemon animated series. I adore this show so much, and ever since I've been like waiting for Netflix to put season 2 up, and they just never do, year after year after year, I've been like, I need to fucking get an actual copy of this thing because it is so meaningful to me and so important to me. You know, this is something I want to own. This is something I want to have and be able to pull out and watch when I feel like it. So I got this lovely limited edition collection that has just those first 2 seasons in this big cardboard slipcover. There we go. We'll pull them out and have a look, just for old time's sake. That's the wrong end, Jamie. You need to pull them out the other end. There we go. All right. Look. So it's four cases all together. So we've got season 1, collection 1, season 1, collection 2. And I'll just have a look at the discs inside. There's just like, you know, there's no, you know, paperwork or anything in that. They're just Pokemon discs. And then these, the much sought after and elusive Season 2 Collection 1 and Season 2 Collection 2. And it's this one in particular is what I wanted, because I wanted that first, Ash's first venture into the Pokemon League. Like, if you remember watching this series when you were a child and watching that whole seasons go past, waiting and waiting and waiting in anticipation for Ash to get to the Pokemon League, and then finally he did. I think he was there for 4 episodes. They are just magic episodes, those 4 episodes. They are like the best 4 episodes, arguably, of the whole fucking series for me. And I just remember them so fondly because it was such a build-up. It was such an anticipation of it's coming. And then when we finally got there, it didn't disappoint, which certainly not to me. And the way that they did it too, like, was so much different to the video games, where it's like, you know, you're challenging the Elite Four, whereas in the animated series, they had it much more like this big tournament, and I thought that was so fucking cool. I liked it better than the game, actually. But yeah, so really happy to have those finally. A long time coming to get a hold of these, and there was lots of different ways to get these. You know, lots of different sets and different boxes, different. You know, you could buy them singly, but I just really liked that cover, and this was ended up being really cheap, actually. But that cover, especially my little boy Bulby on there, yeah, that's just super duper cool. I love it. So that is 100% going to have a spot on the shelf behind me somewhere, because that is something that is very, very important to me. All right, next up on the eBay pickups was San Francisco Rush. And you might be thinking, well, hang on a second, Jamie, you already own San Francisco Rush. Yes, you would be correct. I do already own San Francisco Rush. The reason I bought this is because it came with this. A manual. Incredibly difficult to find, as it turns out, a manual for San Francisco Rush, and not cheap. So I managed to grab, it was being sold, I think it was like $30 for the game and the manual together. There were people selling just the manual from like the US or the UK or something for much more than that. So I was happy to grab that, and then I can get an extra cartridge, which I will donate to Scott, because he doesn't have this game in his collection, so he will score that for his collection, and I get to get the manual to put in my copy of San Francisco Rush, and now making it a complete version, which, as I discussed at the time, turns out to be, excuse me, surprisingly valuable. I still don't understand why that is, but anyway, I've got it now. The only hiccup with this, as you can probably see, is that the binding has let go of the first few pages, which is disappointing. They didn't highlight that in the listing. Rest of the book's fine, but just those first sort of, 3 pages? 3 pages have let go of that binding, as can be the case with these old manuals that have like the square bound sort of manuals there. But it's it's actually only a few pages long. It's just a multilingual manual. But yeah, happy to have that. So that makes a complete San Francisco Rush now for the shelf. Right, we have 3 items left. Let's get into, I won't say the least exciting one. I mean, I think it's exciting, but it's not the big hitters of the week. And that is a game that I really, really enjoyed in a series. Well, I really, really enjoyed it, but I wish I enjoyed it more. I wish I enjoyed the whole series more. In fact, it might be the number 1 series that I've played that I wish I loved, but I just kind of don't. Like, I like it, but I want to love it so badly. And this one in particular is probably the one that I've played that I liked the most. But I did enjoy it, and that is Monster Hunter 3 Tri on the Wii. Now, this copy that I've got here is fucking immaculate. And this is not the first copy of Monster Hunter Tri that has graced my hands since I started trying to fill out this collection for the shelf. I got another one that was just disgusting. It looked like It looked like it had like coffee spill. I'm gonna hope it was coffee or hot chocolate or something all over it. It was completely water damaged. It looked like it had been jumped up and down on. Yeah, it was just in terrible condition, and none of that was highlighted on the listing. So I sent that one back and got my money back very, very quickly, because it wasn't super cheap. They were not. I think I paid less for this one, but this one, as you can see, is perfect, almost untouched, and it's all there. Another nice big manual. I don't think this is a multilingual one. Nope, this is all game. Even goes so far as to give you the control scheme for each of the different weapon combos. Yeah, Monster Hunter Tri was great. And you know, if you've played a Monster Hunter game and you didn't play this one, you're not missing anything. It's the same as every other Monster Hunter game out there, really. But I think, was this the first Monster Hunter I ever tried? It might be. It might be the first one. I also had Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate, which you've probably seen me trying to pick up from my local CEX, but they won't relent with the hole in the cover. I would like to get a copy of that for the shelf too, because I'd have good memories of playing that with my buddy Gary and Scott online on the 3DS. Is that a 3DS one, I think? And that was really, really fun as well. This one I just played solo. I played it a bit with Gary as well. And yeah, I did have a good time with this one. I don't know. There's something about this game that, like, the fucking cover for a start. I love the cover art of this game. And I think I had the big boxed copy that came with, you could get a full box copy. And there are not very many big box copies of things on the Wii. But you could get a big box copy of this that also came with a controller. I think it was the Pro controller. I think, was that what it was called? Whatever that, you know, the cool black controller that they released for the Wii. It had one of those in it as well. And again, the box just looked cool. I did consider picking up one of those, but they wanted too much for it, and having that doesn't really add anything nostalgically for me. I don't need a Wii controller. I've still got the controller that came with that version of the game in my storage boxes somewhere. So I don't need the controller. It's not adding anything, you know, sentimentally. Is that a word? I'm going to make it a word. To me. So all I really wanted was the game, and I managed to get this for an absolute steal. So I was very, very happy to have Monster Hunter Tri. I don't remember how much this one cost me. It was like $5, maybe less. Yeah, it was not much. And when it showed up and it was in this good a condition, yeah, I was very, very happy, especially after the disastrous first attempt at getting it. So yeah, Monster Hunter Tri, good game. Enjoyed it. I just wish I loved Monster Hunter more. I'm just not I don't like repetitive things, you know, like I get bored very quickly when I have to do the same thing over and over again. So I tend not to like grindy games, and Monster Hunter traditionally is a very grindy game. Sam has told me to give Monster Hunter World a try, and I do own it. I have picked it up. I do intend to give that a whirl, because again, I want to love it. I want to love it so badly. And I just haven't found one that I like them. I enjoy them while I play them, but I just can't play them very long. Like I wish you could just hunt the monster and then move on to the next one. If you could do that, it'd be one of my favorite fucking series of all time. But it's the fact that you have to hunt the same monster sort of 4, 5, 6 times before you can move on to the next one, and then you hunt that one 4, 5, 6 times. Yeah, it burns me out very, very quickly. But for the short span of time that I'm playing it, I like it, and I have very good memories of this one. So there we go. Now, moving on, let's get into some real retro kit. Let's get the Wayback Machine pumping. Let's have a look at what might be the first video game I ever played in my whole little life. Man, I'm trying to think. There's a very good chance this is the very first video game ever. This is a game for the Atari 2600 that I picked up. It's not the cartridge that I owned, unfortunately. I'm still looking for that, and if I find it, I will grab it. But it's not the multi-game cartridge that I owned for the Atari 2600, which was the only cartridge we ever owned for that system. But it is one of the games that was on that multi-game cartridge, and that is Activision's Boxing. Look at that. Look at that fucking cover. Yeah, baby. I love it. And this is in surprisingly good condition for its age. I haven't gone hunting for 2600 games. Like I said, I only owned one cartridge, the Smash Hit pack from Activision with its 5 games, one of which was Boxing. And I'm still chasing that particular cartridge. But these cardboard boxed Atari 2600 games, you don't see the boxes in this sort of condition ever. Like, they are either non-existent, long since perished, or so beat to shit that they don't add any value to the product at all. So to find one in this good a condition, I was really, really happy with that. Let's take a look inside. So inside we have a cartridge that, to be quite honest with you, looks like it's seen better days. I'm not sure, and I've seen this. This is a problem on a lot of old Atari cartridges, so it's not a unique issue to my copy here. I've seen this when I've been looking for Atari games on a number of Atari cartridges, but there it is. Not really showing up. The camera's doing a lot of work here to make this look good, as it does with myself. But there is something going on with the label. I don't know if it's mold. I don't think it's mold. But whatever it is, it's on like the underside of the label. It could be the glue that the label is stuck down to the plastic with, discoloring. If you've got one of these, or if you're a retro collector watching this and you know what this strange mottled black phenomena is with these old Atari cartridges, leave me a comment and let me know, because I'm fascinated to figure out what this is. Because if it is mold, I don't really want it anywhere in my game room, or I need to contain it somehow, because mold is insidious shit and you do not want it around things that you value. Other than the label, it's in good condition, but there's a few other little bits in here, which again, really surprising. You just don't see this with old Atari 2600 games. Instruction manual, for starters. Single leaf. There it is. With a little, on this side, some tips. How to be a champion at boxing from Bob Whitehead, the designer of the game. I thought that was cool. You don't see that in games anymore. That's so awesome. When you're sparring with the computer, you'll do best by throwing long jabs, moving in for an occasional power punch, and then dancing quickly out of his reach. And watch out. When he gets behind, he gets better. But hang in there if you get behind. After the first minute, the computer gets a little tired and his reactions slow down. See, that's shit like that's really cool, I think. The little piece of advice from the designer of the game. And it's got the basics on, again, we're blitzed out with the lighting here, but it's got the basics of how to play the game, how to actually make the game work in the system, which is interesting. And then, in addition to that, probably the coolest thing in the box, right? That again, I didn't know this was in the box. When I bought it, all I saw was cartridge and box. So I didn't know it had a manual. And I certainly didn't know that it had this, which is a little leaflet advertising other games on the system. How fucking cool is that? Double-sided. So you can see Pitfall. We got Pitfall 2, Enduro, Frostbite, Decathlon, Robot Tank, Kaboom, River Raid. All these old classics, and it all folds away into this nice mega retro brown and coloured Atari leaflet. That was a fucking score, I thought. I was so happy to see this in the box. I did not expect that to be in there, but it was like, just looking at it and reading through it was so cool. Such a blast from the past, because that's the sort of thing that I would have sat there and read through when I owned the game. Just loving looking at the possibilities of what else was out there. This looks like it's going to be take some doing to get this back in the box. No, it's going to behave itself. Lovely. There we go. All right. So there we go. Now, I don't know if you can see, probably can't, but inside is interesting too. Inside these Activision boxes, it's like a cardboard little sort of part here for the cartridge to sit on, and you can see down on this side, down the bottom, there's just another piece of cardboard that is glued to stick out at a certain angle to keep the cartridge from slipping all the way down into the bottom of the box, so that when you put it away, it just sits there flush at the top. Awesome. So there you go. Activision's boxing. I think I got this for, I want to say $15, maybe slightly less than $15. It was very, very cheap. And I was, you know, when I saw it, I thought, oh my God, like seeing that image was like, I remember that. That might have been the first game I ever played. So I've got it now, but I'm still on the hunt for the actual 5-game smash hit pack that I did own for the Atari 2600 that has boxing as well as Stampede and Frogger and a few others on there as well, skiing. I would very much like to have that for the shelf. But in the meantime, wrapped with that, and especially with what I got in the box and how cheap it is. Did I show you the back? There's the back. With the little diagrams of the old joystick controllers. Ah, man. Anyway, Activision's boxing. A good pickup. Very, very happy to have that one for now for the shelf. And the main event. I'm just going to take this out of its box protector because I am not a professional, and a professional would have done that ahead of time. This is my next Grail find that took some real finding. This was not a common game, and I knew that it would be difficult to find. I can get cartridges of this game, I won't say fairly easily, but they're around. You do find the cartridges, but finding boxed copies of this was a mission, was a real mission, and especially finding boxed copies of this for a decent price. This is an NES game. I've said on the channel before, I only owned 3 NES games for the system when we had it. One of those was Double Dragon 2. We've acquired that and ticked that one off the list. This is one of the 2 that were remaining, and again, just fucking great box art, just like Double Dragon, amazing box art, and that is Wrath of the Black Manta from Taito. Look at that. How fucking cool is that? I think the NTSC version had a different cover that doesn't look anywhere near as anime as this one does, but I prefer this one. This one looks fantastic, and I remember it vividly. There's a look at there we go, no glare, the back. Fucking hard game, if I remember rightly. Hard game, this one. The box was in pretty good condition when it showed up, but it did have a, and I've since removed it, it did have a sticker, big lot of sticker residue here, covering this whole section. But I've managed to clean that up and restore it. There's a couple of little scrapes, like there's a little nick there, there's a little nick, you can probably barely see it, but there's a little nick on his cheek. But I am more than happy with how that cleaned up. Really, really, really happy. Is that less glare when I hold it over this side? No, not really. All right, let's open it up and have a look. So this is complete in box. So we have cartridge and manual. It's missing the NES games have a little polystyrene, I don't know, rectangle that sits at the bottom of the box to make the game sit flush with the top of the box. It's missing that. They're really hard to find. Not many games you come across have those. My Double Dragon copy does have it, but it's one of the only games I've seen that still has that little polystyrene insert. So we've got our game in our official Nintendo sleeve. Take that out. There's the cartridge. In very, very good condition. Really fucking good condition. In fact, I don't know. that I can see a single thing wrong with it. The sticker looks new, which is surprising, you know. Like can you see the shine? Like it looks brand new. But otherwise, yeah, yep, perfect fucking condition cartridge. So wrapped with that, and then we've got our little Wrath of the Black Manta, how to play. So Wrath of the Black Manta, if you don't know, is a little bit like Ninja Gaiden, like Shinobi, like that sort of game, like an action platformer. I just remember it being incredibly difficult at the time. It wasn't the best game in the world. It wasn't particularly fair, I thought. It's a multilingual manual by the looks of things, which is why it's so big. But again, these old manuals, I love how they go through, if we flip through a little bit, the levels. Look at that. Level 1, level 2. And it takes you through bit by bit with a little explanation of what's going on in each one. But yeah, again, as it was, so it's 5 levels altogether, and that is it. And I just remember it being a very, very difficult game for our little young minds and little young hands. But I played it a lot, over and over again. I remember playing it again with my friend Gary, seeing how far we could get. I remember very vividly fighting the first boss, Tiny, who's this massive dude that fills the screen and just sort of slowly like jumps forward at you, and every time he jumps, I think like bricks fall down from the ceiling or something like that, if I remember rightly, and you have to hit him in the head with ninja stars, like jump and attack while avoiding the bricks. And I think we managed to beat Tiny from memory, but I don't think we got much further than that. And that's the boss of level 1, I think, if I'm remembering correctly. So yeah, we didn't get very far into the old Wrath of the Black Manta. Maybe that's one I could give another shot at on stream and see if I can do any better than I did back then. Because I'd like to play it again and see how my memories of the game translate to what I think of it now. Whether I'd actually enjoy it more now than I did back then. But yeah, you're the ultimate force of one. Wrath of the Black Manta. That cover art, again, an absolute banger. I'd love to get a poster of that for the wall. That'd be fantastic. But yeah, brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. So happy to have that on the shelf. So that is another Grail game that we can now tick off of the list. So that's 2 down. We are away. We are well and truly away to filling the shelf with all the memories that I hold most special, most fond, most close. And that's a very, very exciting prospect, I think. So yeah, very, very happy with that. But that's it. That is all of the pickups that I managed to score for this week. So thank you very much for hanging out. If you have played or watched or have wonderful memories about, or not wonderful memories about any of these games or shows or DVDs or whatever I've showed you today, make sure you go down the bottom and leave a comment and tell me about them. I want to know if you played the same things that I played or watched the same things that I watched and what your thoughts and memories are around them. That would be fantastic. Other than that, that's going to do it from me for this week. I'll be back again next week with another pickups video, and I'm sure you'll probably see me at some point before then. And until then, make sure you keep on side scrolling. Take it easy.